In a remote village that clings to the edge of a wild, turbulent river, life unfolds at a pace dictated by nature and the long-held traditions of its people. The village is a collection of weathered cottages and time-worn stone structures, each bearing silent testimony to generations of history, love, and loss. Early in the morning, a thick mist rises from the river, shrouding the narrow, winding alleys in an ethereal glow that blurs the boundaries between past and present. The light of dawn, soft and pale yet imbued with a quiet promise, breaks through the dense fog and illuminates the rugged faces of villagers who have long relied on the river's bounty and battled its fury. Every corner of this village exudes an air of enduring mystery, a mosaic of age-old customs and whispered legends passed down from elders who have seen the seasons of both prosperity and despair. Here, the river is more than just a body of water. It is a living entity, revered and feared in equal measure. Its roaring currents are believed to carry the memories of ancestors and the secrets of forgotten times. The villagers, steeped in superstitions and bound by a code of honor their heritage by maintaining rituals that celebrate both the beauty and the brutality of nature. As the day begins, the gentle murmur of the village is punctuated by the distant cry of birds and the soft rustling of leaves stirred by the wind. Yet beneath this serene facade lies an undercurrent of tension, a sense that something significant is about to disturb the delicate balance of life. The land itself seems to hold its breath, as if aware that the age-old rhythm of tradition is on the verge of being challenged. In this charged atmosphere, every stone and every ripple in the river hints at the secrets that are waiting to be revealed, and every villager, whether they acknowledge it or not, feels the weight of an unspoken destiny that draws them toward an unknown future. This is a place where the past and present collide, where the steadfast belief in ancient customs is met with the relentless march of change. Here, in the interplay of light and shadow, the villagers' lives are interwoven with the elemental forces of nature. And as the soft hues of the new dawn transform the sky, the stage is set for a story that, on a particularly stormy morning, as dark clouds gathered overhead and the heavens threatened to unleash their fury, the village was abruptly shaken by a sound that cut through the usual murmur of early activity. It was Rex, a retired police canine known throughout the village for his unwavering loyalty and remarkable bravery, whose desperate barks resonated with an urgency that no one had ever heard before. Rex's voice, usually calm and measured, had transformed into a series of frantic, piercing cries that echoed down the narrow alleys and across the rain-soaked fields, instantly capturing the attention of everyone within earshot. The atmosphere was charged with a palpable tension as villagers, caught off guard in their daily routines, hurriedly stepped outside. Faces etched with concern and curiosity turned towards the source of the commotion. Among the crowd, a young woman named Isabel felt an inexplicable pull, as if her instincts were urging her to follow the distressed calls. The rain, which had been a gentle patter moments before, intensified into a torrential downpour that blurred the boundaries between the familiar and the unknown. As droplets splashed against the ancient cobblestones, Rex's relentless barking grew louder, a beacon of warning in the midst of nature's wrath. In that chaotic moment, every villager could sense that something was profoundly wrong. The usually serene morning had transformed into an ominous scene, where every heart beat in sync with Rex's urgent calls. The dog's behavior was far from ordinary. His eyes, usually filled with calm intelligence, now shone with a fierce determination and a hint of anxiety. It was as if Rex, with every bark, was summoning the collective will of the community to heed a critical summons, a call that transcended mere animal instinct and spoke to something deeply human. Compelled by a mix of dread and anticipation, the villagers began to converge towards the riverbank, where the tumultuous water roared louder than ever before. Rex led the way, his paws splashing through the rapidly rising water as he raced along the slippery path. His movements were fluid yet urgent, a perfect blend of agility and resolve that left no doubt about his mission. The sound of the river, amplified by the unyielding storm, created a dramatic backdrop to Rex's determined charge. Each step he took was a silent declaration that the situation was critical, and that an action could lead to irreversible consequences. In that moment, the entire village was united by a common purpose. Whether driven by concern for Rex's well-being or a deeper, unspoken understanding of the peril that lay ahead, the people found themselves rallying behind the courageous canine. As the wind howled and the rain lashed down, Rex's impassioned bark served as both a clarion call and a promise that no matter the danger, the heart of the village would beat as one, ready to confront whatever darkness the storm might bring. With the storm in full swing and the heavens unleashing torrents upon the land, Rex's determined form burst forth as he charged towards the swollen river. The water, once a gentle stream, had transformed into a wild, untamed force of nature, surging and churning with a fury that defied human control. Every step Rex took was a battle against the relentless current that threatened to sweep him away. The dog's paws splashed against the slick, rain-drenched earth as he navigated the narrow, slippery pathway leading to the river's edge. On the banks, villagers watched with bated breath, their faces etched in a mixture of fear and awe. They had seen the river before in calmer times, but today it roared with an intensity that seemed to mirror the turmoil in Rex's eyes. The wind howled, bending trees and sending leaves spiraling into the air, while the heavy rain blurred the lines between sky and water. Despite the overwhelming chaos, Rex's resolve did not waver. His every muscle was tensed, his body moving with an instinctive precision honed over years of duty. As he reached the edge of the turbulent river, Rex paused for a brief moment, as if steeling himself for the challenge ahead. Then, with a surge of courage, he plunged into the freezing, tumultuous water. The river's cold grip seemed almost sentient, its swirling currents pulling at him with a formidable force. Yet Rex fought back with unwavering determination. His powerful limbs cut through the churning water, and every stroke was an act of defiance against the relentless flood. From the safety of the riverbank, the villagers could only watch in a blend of horror and hope as the heroic canine battled the elements. The scene was one of raw, unfiltered intensity. Each splash of water, each gust of wind, amplified the drama of the moment. The natural world, with all its might, seemed intent on testing Rex's resolve, yet the dog pressed on, driven by a purpose that transcended mere survival. His barks, though momentarily drowned out by the cacophony of the storm, carried a message of unwavering courage, a silent vow that he would not succumb to the river's might without a fight. In that ferocious clash between animal instinct and nature's fury, the essence of the battle was clear. It was not just a struggle against water and wind, but a fight to safeguard something irreplaceable. As Rex battled the tumultuous waters, his powerful strokes and unwavering determination suddenly resulted in a moment of extraordinary revelation. In the heart of the raging current, a small, fragile bundle emerged, clutched firmly in Rex's determined jaws. The bundle, swathed in a tattered cloth, was slowly dragged towards the turbulent riverbank by the relentless pull of the water. Amid the relentless roar of the storm, the villagers' anxious murmurs reached a crescendo as they gathered at the river's edge, their eyes fixed on the miraculous scene unfolding before them. Time appeared to slow down in that charged moment. As the damp cloth was carefully unraveled, the stunned onlookers discovered that the bundle concealed a newborn baby, whose tiny body was shrouded in a mix of fragile life and the scars of the raging storm. The infant, barely clinging to life, was soaked through, its delicate skin glistening with droplets of rain, yet somehow radiated a faint, resilient glow, a silent testament to the tenacity of life, even amid such chaos. The sight struck every heart present. There was an overwhelming mix of horror at the peril the child had faced, and an undeniable spark of hope that such innocence might still prevail in a world so fraught with danger. In that surreal moment, the villagers instinctively rallied together. Some rushed to shield the child from the unyielding rain with whatever coverings they could find, while others hurried to start warming the fragile form near a small, crackling fire. The gentle cries of the baby, almost lost in the cacophony of nature's fury, were soon met with soft, soothing voices as the community united in a silent promise to nurture and protect this new life. Each heartbeat of the newborn seemed to echo the shared resolve of the villagers, an unspoken acknowledgement that life, in all its vulnerability, was a precious gift worth every sacrifice. For Rex, standing at the edge of the water, the act of retrieving the infant was far more than a mere instinctual response. It was a defining moment that encapsulated his unyielding dedication and the deep-seated bond he shared with the people of the village. His eyes, still glistening with the remnants of the storm and determination, seemed to convey a silent assurance that no matter how fierce the elements, he would always be there to safeguard the innocent. The discovery of the baby not only deepened the mystery of that tempestuous day, but also ignited a fervent hope, a belief that even in the darkest hours, the light of new beginnings could emerge from the depths of despair. In the chaotic aftermath of the miraculous discovery, a lone figure emerged from the throng of villagers, a woman whose very presence exuded a profound sorrow and a turbulent history. Drenched by the relentless rain, Clara moved with a desperate urgency, her tear-streaked face etched with pain and regret. As she neared the cluster of onlookers gathered around the recovered bundle, her eyes, red and glistening with unshed tears, bore the unmistakable marks of someone who had long endured hardship. The moment the infant was unveiled, an unspoken recognition lit within her. This child was not merely a random casualty of nature's fury, but a part of her past, a reminder of a love that had been both forbidden and fated. Clara's steps faltered for a heartbeat as she reached the newborn, her hands trembling with a mixture of relief and anguish. Every fiber of her being resonated with the overwhelming pull of a memory she had tried so desperately to bury. In that charged silence, her mind replayed a tapestry of long-forgotten moments, a clandestine romance that had defied the rigid conventions of their tight-knit community, the illicit passion that had ignited both joy and inevitable despair. That love, marked by secrecy and bitter consequences, had left her scarred and isolated, a solitary soul navigating a world that judged her for choices made under the weight of overwhelming desire and societal expectations. With a baby cradled in her arms, Clara's voice, soft yet laden with an unyielding resolve, began to weave the story of her life, a narrative punctuated by heartache, betrayal, and the haunting echoes of regret. She recounted how a love that was never meant to be had blossomed in the shadows, only to be shattered by the unforgiving light of reality. That ill-fated affair had resulted in the birth of this very child, a secret too dangerous to reveal in a society governed by unyielding tradition and moral rigidity. Her confession, spoken in halting whispers, carried with it the weight of years spent in silence, and the anguish of a mother torn between societal condemnation and the fierce instinct to protect her progeny. In the eyes of the villagers, Clara was no longer just a distraught woman clinging to a child. She had become the embodiment of a personal tragedy that mirrored the storm's own relentless turmoil. Every tear that fell from her eyes narrated a story of loss, a saga of love unfulfilled and dreams shattered by circumstance. The emotional intensity of the moment was palpable. Each villager felt the gravity of her plight, a silent acknowledgement that the roots of her suffering ran deep, intertwined with the very fabric of the village's hidden past. Yet, amid the sorrow and despair, there was an undeniable spark of defiance, a determination to reclaim a semblance of the life that had been so cruelly disrupted. As the storm continued to rage overhead, Clara's presence became a catalyst for change, a poignant reminder that the past, no matter how painful, need not dictate the future. In that fragile, rain-soaked embrace, the infant symbolized not only a legacy of forbidden love, but also the possibility of redemption. Clara's haunted gaze, fixed tenderly on the tiny life cradled in her arms, revealed an inner strength born of suffering and the resolute hope that this new beginning could, one day, heal the deep wounds of her history. Her whispered promises mingled with the storm's lament, echoing a profound desire to defy the past and nurture a future where compassion and truth could finally prevail. In the wake of Clara's tearful confession, the once hushed murmur among the villagers gave way to a storm of suspicion and unease. The extraordinary events of the day had unearthed more than just a stray infant and a mother's long-buried secret. They had also cast a glaring light on the undercurrents of corruption that pulsed beneath the village's idyllic facade. Rumors began to circulate, and a quiet yet determined investigation was launched by those who dared to question the established order. The first clues came from the hesitant admission of Clara's estranged husband, whose trembling voice confessed that he had been forced into a corner by a shadowy authority. Initially painted as a reluctant pawn in an inexplicable drama, his admission quickly deepened the mystery. With each word, the villagers pieced together the fragments of a narrative that pointed to a far more sinister mastermind. It was not long before whispers of a respected elder began to echo through the narrow lanes of the village, a man known as Elias, revered for his wisdom and long history of service to the community. As the investigation gained momentum, evidence slowly coalesced around Elias' involvement. Under the veneer of piety and tradition, Elias had been orchestrating events from behind the scenes, driven by an unyielding obsession with purity and legacy. In a clandestine meeting held in the hushed interior of an old mill on the village outskirts, Elias was confronted by a group of wary villagers. The air was thick with tension, and the dim light of a single oil lamp cast long, ominous shadows across his stern features. There, in that secluded space, Elias's carefully constructed facade began to crumble. With a cold, measured tone, he defended his actions as a necessary evil, a misguided but resolute attempt to protect the sanctity of the village's bloodline. He claimed that the newborn child, born of a forbidden love, was a blemish upon the community, a living reminder of a transgression that could unravel generations of carefully maintained tradition. His justifications, laced with fanaticism, revealed a man who saw himself as both guardian and executioner of a moral code that was rapidly becoming archaic. The confrontation grew more heated as the villagers demanded answers and accountability. Elias, unflinching under the scrutiny, argued that his actions, however draconian they might appear, were in the best interest of the community. His rhetoric, delivered with a chilling conviction, attempted to mask the cruelty inherent in his scheme. Yet, as the truth emerged layer by layer, it became painfully clear that Elias's motivations were not born of genuine concern for the village's welfare, but were instead fueled by a personal ambition to enforce a narrow, exclusionary vision of purity at any cost. In that charged moment, the atmosphere in the mill shifted from one of fearful reverence to overt defiance. The villagers, who had long trusted Elias as a pillar of moral authority, began to see him in a new light, a man whose actions, cloaked in the rhetoric of tradition, were in reality an insidious betrayal of the very values he claimed to uphold. The bitter irony of the situation was not lost on them. A revered elder, who had once been a symbol of collective wisdom, had become the architect of a conspiracy that threatened to tear the fabric of their community apart. The revelations in the mill left the villagers with a stark choice: to continue living under the oppressive weight of outdated dogma, or to rise and reclaim the right to a future defined by compassion and justice. As the echoes of Elias's justifications faded into the oppressive silence of that forsaken building, the people of the village realized that their struggle was not solely against a single man, but against a system of beliefs that had long stifled change and suppressed the voices of those who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. In the end, the dark truth behind the infant's fate and the bitter machinations of Elias ignited a spark of rebellion within the hearts of the villagers. It was a spark that promised not only retribution but also the possibility of a profound transformation, a future where truth and empathy would stand as the new cornerstones of their shared destiny. As the dark revelations began to take root and the villagers' hearts trembled with uncertainty, all eyes turned to Rex, a steadfast guardian who had already proven his worth by defying the raging currents. Despite the scars inflicted by the unyielding river and the emotional tumult that now gripped the community, Rex emerged with an unbreakable resolve. His eyes, usually calm and soulful, burned with a fierce determination that spoke of a purpose far beyond simple instinct. In that moment, Rex was not merely a loyal companion. He had become the embodiment of hope and resilience for an entire village teetering on the brink of despair. Rex's transformation was palpable. His once leisurely gait was now replaced by purposeful strides as he led the charge against the oppressive forces that threatened the village. With every powerful bound, he seemed to defy both nature and man-made injustice. When Elias, driven by his twisted ideology, attempted to enforce his will through intimidation and brute force, Rex reacted with a valor that silenced even the harshest of critics. The ensuing clash was both physical and symbolic, a battle where raw courage confronted the poison of outdated traditions. In the heart of the chaos, Rex lunged forward, his barks echoing like a rallying cry, urging the villagers to stand together against tyranny. Every muscle in his body tensed as he intercepted the advancing figure of Elias. The confrontation was swift and brutal, a flurry of movement where Rex's agile defense met Elias's desperate aggression head-on. Though the canine bore wounds from the relentless struggle, each scar a testament to his sacrifice, he never faltered. Instead, with each determined step, Rex reminded everyone present that true heroism is measured not by the absence of pain, but by the relentless pursuit of justice, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Witnessing Rex's courageous stand, the villagers felt a stirring of unity that transcended their fear and anger. His actions ignited a spark within them, a conviction that if a single soul, be it human or animal, could rise against corruption and cruelty, then perhaps change was within their grasp. Rex's defiance served as both a shield and a beacon, drawing the community together in a shared commitment to protect the innocent and restore dignity to their way of life. In that turbulent hour, Rex's noble battle was more than just an act of defiance. It was a powerful reminder that hope can be kindled even in the darkest of times. His tireless effort not only halted the immediate threat but also set in motion a transformation within the village, a shift from fear to resolve, from silence to action. As the echoes of his heroic barks mingled with the fading roar of the storm, Rex stood as a timeless symbol of resilience and integrity, his unwavering spirit lighting the path toward a future where compassion and justice would prevail over the shadows of the past.